This story took place in 1992 in China. After a heavy rain, a villager in Longyou County, Kuzhou City, Zhejiang Province, went to the fields to check the crops. While passing by a large pond outside the village, he noticed fish splashing vigorously in the water, prompting him to cast a net. As a result, he caught a large carp weighing over 15 kilograms. This event quickly spread throughout the village. Many villagers believed the pond must contain more large fish, so they flocked to see it. To catch the fish quickly, the villagers brought in 5 pumps to drain the pond. However, a strange thing happened. Despite the pond not being very large, the 5 pumps working at full capacity for many days still couldn't drain all the water. Because of this, they began to suspect that the pond was a bottomless pit. To find the answer, the villagers continued to pump water out of the pond. It wasn't until the 17th day that the bottom of the pond finally appeared. Contrary to their initial expectations, there were no fish in the pond, but the sight before them left everyone present astonished. Right beneath the pond, a massive cave appeared. Its scale was so large that it made people entering it feel incredibly small. Subsequent explorations led to the discovery of 19 additional smaller caves. According to a 2009 study, the cave complex varies in size, with widths ranging from 18 to 34 meters and heights from 8 to 18 meters. It features towering slanted roofs and remarkably sturdy pillars. In the years following the discovery of the Longyou Caves, archaeologists from China, Japan, Poland, Singapore, and the United States flocked to the site. They found that the cave complex contains historical traces dating back to the reign of Emperor Zhuan of Han, 9148 BC, proving that the site was man-made over 2,000 years ago. This ancient age has left experts astonished. They have struggled to find an explanation for how the cave complex has remained intact over such a long period of time. Furthermore, these caves appear distinct from many structures created by humans over 2,000 years ago. Looking at the striations on the cave walls, it appears they were created by hollowing out layer by layer. But it's very difficult to determine how ancient people constructed these caves. Scientists have not found any ancient records or writings about the caves or the construction process. Perhaps the only similar structure to the Longyou Caves is the Mount Hoa Caves, located about 200 kilometers away in another region of China, and believed to have been built up to 1,500 years later. The reason ancient people invested so much effort in creating these caves remains a mystery as well. In 2014, researcher Yang Hongshun at the Institute of Archaeology, Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, proposed a hypothesis that the caves were built by order of King Zhao of Yue around 494 BC. King Zhao of Yue allegedly used the Longyou Caves to hide thousands of his soldiers after a significant defeat. However, this hypothesis still fails to explain many other mysteries surrounding the cave complex. To this day, the Longyou Caves remain one of the most mysterious ancient sites in world history.